opening this week. Yes. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh, things will change and leaves will fall and it will rain. Transformed before your eyes with no time for chasing. Oh, why'd that happen to me? Oh, you never know just how life is gonna go. So you jump in your boat and row, row, row. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. Woo, we got little boats with parsley in them, that's right. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh, you've got to aim high and go for your pie in the sky. Go ahead, trust yourself. Everything will right itself. Life's a stream, so go ahead and follow your dream. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. All together now, ready? At home in here. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Woo! I am so excited to be here at the Vessel Gallery where I've had my opening, and I'm now going to invite Laurie to join me on the stage. Laurie, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Vous êtes artiste?
Oui, je
Oh.
suis artiste.
And you're French?
Yes, I've moved to New Zealand. Is that working?
Yes.
I moved to New Zealand 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Yes.
And give us your full name, like your, I guess we can have your real name and your art name, or are they the same?
Yeah, no, it's not the same.
Okay.
My birth name was Mango, like fruit.
I have a mango tree.
But I signed Spira.
Spira.
Yes. I was given to me.
Who gave you the name Spira?
My best friend when I was a teenager
Mm.
gave me that name because we both had Italian roots.
Oh.
And it seemed like a befitting name for me because I was always lifting everybody's spirits up.
Oh.
So yeah, that became my name and that's how I chose to sign my work.
Oh, well there you go. And so you've been a painter mostly?
Yes, I've used a lot of mixed media. By my training, I was trained in a little bit of everything.
Ooh, les beaux-arts!
Yeah, not quite actually. I didn't go to the Beaux-Arts. I went for a different route, which is a technical. It was a technical route where we did a lot of design, a lot of communication, a lot of architecture, and and fashion, which wasn't my favorite.
Ooh.
But we did a bit of that as well, so we learned a lot about lots of different techniques and lots of different mediums without really going into much detail about any of them. So I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none in the art department.
Okay, speaking of art, so you are part of this. The Vessel is an art co-op. There are at the moment 9 or 10 members.
Yes, that's right.
And some other people could join if they wanted to.
Yes.
The art is displayed a communal style, so not each person has their own square of the wall, and everybody sits sometime.
Yes.
And from time to time, you all have a guest exhibition, hence my lovely exhibition. But let's see some of your works.
So, after my degree, I went traveling a little bit, and I used a lot of watercolor because it's very easy to transport.
Oh, the watercolor itself is.
Yes, that's right. And even the paper, it doesn't require too much material, too much things to go on with you. So I actually have had the same palette for 20 years now.
Of paper?
No.
Of watercolors?
Yeah.
Not a palette of paper. Okay, yeah, the same.
I have it in my bag actually. if you want to grab it.
Yes. Let's see. We're going to run off and grab us the bag.
Yes.
We have. It's good to have what's the word? Helpers here today.
Yes, exactly.
Our friend Catherine.
Yeah.
Our friend Catherine is one of the artists here, and these little plates are Catherine's, and she's a fabulous little painter. We had an art show here together a couple of years ago, and she agreed to be behind the camera. Hello, Catherine.
Hello.
So this is the same palette. I've been replacing the colors as I finish them, but this is the same palette that I've had for 20 years. I bought this when I was a student, when I was 14. And I'm 33, so nearly 20 years. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. And so you came to New Zealand why?
I met my ex-husband.
Okay, you met a man.
Yeah,
You met a man. And you came here and you started planting Puhutakawa trees. I see
Well,
that
that's a lot more recent.
Yeah.
I met a man while painting him.
Oh.
Actually, I did his portrait in a bar.
Ooh.
That's how I used to travel. I used to do sketches of people in pubs and in the streets. And yes, I would pay for accommodation and food. And yeah, I didn't really have a plan. I just kept traveling.
Let's see some of your portraits. So there you go, ladies. If you're looking for a man, start painting posters. You never know where you'll meet someone interesting.
So those are portraits that I've done recently. Those are prints.
Okay, so these are some of them. Ooh, I got a sneak peek. All right, this one.
Yes.
What is the story with this one?
So I painted them as a series of portraits.
Oh.
So I painted them together and I put them in a shop all together as a series. And the idea was to explore. What I really wanted to focus on was the lips. Because usually,
the lips.
Yeah, because usually when you paint a portrait, what you're really focusing on is the eyes. It's really what connects humans being together. But I think the lips are also very, very interesting when you want to raise the identity, when you want to talk about. Yeah, exactly.
Look, we're
when
both
you
wearing
want to talk
lipstick.
when you want to talk about the seduction, or but without the identity.
Seduction without the identity.
Yes. So that was because I use, like most artists, I guess, I use an art when I'm struggling with something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was my state of mind at the moment. I was struggling with my own identity, and I was struggling with how I appeal to other people, and that was a way for me to explore that.
Now these portraits are very sort of loose and abstract. Are all your portraits loose like this?
No, that was part of
the exercise.
The exercise was to raise some of it. Was not to go into too much detail. Was to suggest more than. And the watercolor in that sense is beautiful because there is a sense of when you're using watercolor, sometimes it does stuff that you didn't expect. It's a happy accident, and that's you got to use it instead of fighting it.
A happy accident.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, you not only are a member here at the Vessel, so you're a working, earning artist, but also you have just taken a big step forward.
Yes.
Excellent.
So I have taken over a studio, which is in the center of Thames.
The center of this town.
Yeah, exactly. In the heart of town, in a beautiful historical building. It's called the Creative Room, so it's been open for 15 years.
15? Oh,
Yeah.
Creative Room.
Yeah. It's a beautiful space designed to help young people or young artists in their artistic journey to find their voice as artists. And it's really, it really fits me. It became available just as I needed it.
Oh, magic!
And yeah, it was really, this feeling of serendipity.
Yes.
Usually you talk about it with a lover. Well, for me, it's within my work.
So this is a space in downtown Thames where people can come and take, or people have been coming for 15 years, different groups. So what sort of person are you targeting for your classes?
Well, at the moment, the people that are coming are teenagers.
Oh, fun.
And I also have a few students that are adults. And I think I want to help because there's so many people that tell me there's not an artistic bone in my body.
Oh, yeah.
And it annoys the hell out of me.
I know.
Because they feel like they have things to say and they don't know how to express it. And art is a learned, drawing is a learned skill. Nobody's born knowing how to draw. No one. You have to learn it. Talent is, when I went to art school, the word talent for us was a swear word.
You're talented,
yeah. And that's it, we use it as a swear word because it's hard work. It's all hard work. Saying somebody you have talent means like you've done it without even working hard. It's innate. Well, no, actually, it's not. It's hours and hours and hours of work. How dare you would just deny my work and say that I have talent? It's not. That's not how it works. You'd never say an engineer has talent because he does his job well. Well, no, he's learned it. He's learned the technique and he's refined it to the point that he's efficient at his job.
And so if I were just like a person in Thames that thought I would give it a crack, how do I get in touch with you?
Through my social media or
and we'll try and get some links on this to your social media.
Yeah, I haven't got a website up yet.
Okay.
It's in the charts.
They could come in here to the Vessel. And,
yes, definitely.
And so, like, if I was just somebody brand new, I could sign up for just one class or 3 classes.
Of course.
Or...
So I've got after school classes which are full. Awesome, right?
Sold out.
Yes, at the moment I'm working on bringing some more on different days. During the day you can come in and it's casual attendance. You don't have to be there all the time.
Ooh. It's sort of like you can just come in and use the space.
That's right, yeah.
Wow, how exciting. Well, I'm so looking forward. Now, where do you do your painting? What's your studio?
Well, I used to do it at home and here.
Yeah.
And now I'm transferring all of my materials to the creative room and I'm starting to work from there.
Wow, so the creative room will
It is also a private studio. I use it as my private studio. I just choose to open it up so that other people can enjoy all of the wonderful materials that there is in it because there is a lot. There's
potential brimming
different. Yeah, there's a lot of different materials and supplies and different type of paints and there's a lot of oil and watercolor and different type of acrylics.
So you don't have to have a 30-year-old little palette to carry.
No, I don't have to keep it with me anymore. I haven't had to keep it for a very long time. But this palette has followed me through all of my travels, and I don't think I will ever get rid of it.
Oh, it's so fun to have
It
such
might, might sit on a shelf one day. I still use it.
It's artwork in itself.
Yeah, I still use it all the time. When I'm painting institutes or when I'm going out.
Now you do portraits out on the street.
Yeah, I
do. When do you do
charcoal during markets.
Usually on the market.
Yeah, on the market day because there was enough flow that. Yeah, people would walk, and there is also the aspect of, it's kind of a show.
Yeah.
People like to stop and watch you paint.
Yes, and live action. Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so exciting. Well, Lori, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming to sit and talk. And I wish you great success in carrying on this creative space that somebody started, and it probably has a lot of real juju behind it, and the fact that it happens right when you need it, I think is really a good sign. I believe in good signs.
Hopefully. I'm really excited about it. It's
so exciting. Thank you for your time today. Yay! And I'll there's a little CD in that mandolin case that I'll give you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much.
And then, yay! All right. Bye, everyone. We got new guests.
Good morning.
Good morning. May I turn this on?
Yes, please go ahead.
Will you give us your full name, darling?
Okay, my name is Rosalie Stewart.
Rosalie Stewart.
Yes, with a D, not the T one.
Oh,
The D one.
oh dear.
I know, it's a more, you know, there's far less stewards in the world than there are stewards.
Yes, and being a steward, do you think that changed who you were because you
Oh, absolutely, it's defined your identity.
do you think names count?
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, interesting, yeah. And so I feel like here in New Zealand, people put way more weight on a name than I feel like I do in the States. So people seem to know a lot about everything. That's all right.
Well, my ancestors, the steward name comes from the people who used to be there taking care of the castle when the lords of the castle were off on their military campaigns, proving what not good Christians they were.
Well, there you go. And so, Miss Stewart,
Yes!
you are here to speak a little bit about history because you are an historian?
Well, I call myself an historic storyteller. So, the only time I went to university was,
Sorry, this is not a big deal.
the only time I went to university was as a secretary in the maintenance department.
Oh,
But my twin sister, who is definitely an academic, she calls me an autodidact.
an autodidact.
I know!
What is an autodidact?
And that's a person who's always educating themselves.
Oh, yes.
And so I sort of had these questions. And as soon as I asked, here was the start of my becoming an international, you know, hunter of history, was that I went, when did my British ancestors start to become literate in the English language? And then I had to,
question.
I know, when did they have learned to do writing? And so then I had to learn the whole history of the Roman Empire, the history of the Christian Church, and then the history of the Greeks, because without understanding all of those, I couldn't particularly understand what it was that brought about literacy.
Now,
and
was
literature.
your family a particularly literate one?
Well, not so much in the academic sense, but my dad was a great reader and we had a really full, what would you call it, library. So I had a bookshelf that had so many interesting books. And so, but to just briefly, because you've only got a little time, a historic storyteller. So when I was at high school, history appeared to be boring to me.
Yeah.
It was long lists of kings and queens and years and dates that I had no idea about, and I rather learned geography. So I didn't become interested in history until I went to visit the historic power site of Parihaka.
Say that word again, power site.
Parihaka.
But the
power site.
A pow. Spell that for us.
A pa, P-A-H.
P-A-H.
Yeah.
And what does that word mean?
Well, a power site is the old living quarters. It was a big territory. Sometimes they were palisaded, that is, they had boundaries around them with a kainga, which was where the buildings would be outside of the palisades. But it was a traditional living area for different tribes. So there were bigger power site here and the power site there and all of that sort of thing.
Okay, so go on.
So I went to visit the Parihaka power site, and that was when I found out for the first time that the history that I'd learned, the brief history that I'd learned as a student of New Zealand, was so, you know, here's what I'd learned. I'd learned that Captain Cook discovered New Zealand, and in 1840 we signed the Treaty of Waitangi and everybody lived happily ever after.
Wow.
I know. And then I went to Parihaka, and it was 1980, and I'll never forget it. It was a hippie who had, because I joined a hippie club down in New Plymouth, and he had links to the aunties of the Parihaka marae. And so we went for a harvest festival at Parihaka, and then I found out the horrific story of how the two prophets that were the leaders of Parihaka, they had done a very important, I suppose you could call it a non-violent protest, because the colonial government wanted their land, and they didn't want their lands. And in fact, Parihaka had welcomed all of the people who had their lands taken from them onto their site, which was not common because they usually had old grudges and stuff like
Yes,
that.
wow.
And so on the 5th of November of 1881, 2,000 troops invaded Parihaka. And
2,000 English.
2,000 British
British
and colonial troops. They recruited men from Thames as well as other parts. They got their uniforms on. They had the cavalry went in first, and they were met by a little group of 40 young boys doing the haka, which was sort of like a welcome thing. And so were they going to ride their horses? And they've all got their guns at the ready and their swords. Were they going to ride these horses into these little boys? Well, no, they had to veer off the path. And then the next group of opponents or defenders of the pass side were a bunch of girls with huge baskets carrying bread, which they gave to the soldiers.
Makes me cry.
And then and then when they actually fought their way through the boys' haka and the girls' bread gifting, they got to the actual pai, as it's called, the meeting place on the marae, and all 700 people, including the two prophets, Te Whiti and Tohu, were seated quietly. No one was putting up a fight. And so, of course, the soldiers were terribly disappointed because they had come to kill the Maoris who were stopping Her Majesty from taking their lands.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't kill them. And now here's a little aside which I found out, was that in most marae, dogs are not particularly welcome because they might, do their business in places. But when that terrible moment happened, in the course of the day, by lunchtime, the soldiers had said, if you don't move from here, we're gonna fire a cannon upon you. And they dragged this cannon up the top of a little hill. And so everybody was waiting for midday when were they going to actually fire a cannon into this crowd of unarmed, non-resisting people. And so just before midday, this is the story, a kuri, a dog, trotted up the hill, lifted its leg and piddled on the wheel of the cannon. And so at that moment, all of the people who were naturally on edge around whether or not this was their last day started snickering, And so that's why kuri, little dogs, are welcome on the marae of Parihaka. But when I realised what had happened, it took them 3 months to kill the stock, cut down the fruit trees and drive off the people. And when I learnt that story, I was one, horrified that this had happened, and two, absolutely disgusted that I knew nothing about it.
Right, you hadn't been taught that.
I never heard anything about exactly how my ancestors, though they weren't my direct ancestors, had conducted business when the local Maori people had said, we've sold enough land, we don't want to sell anymore. And the British authorities went, we're not giving you a choice on this, we come to take it.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning, back in 1980, when I had that visit where I went, I must know more about the story of my country. And then I've been talking like an Irish whatever ever since.
And where, other than on the Laura Shepherd Show, where do you tell stories?
Well, tour buses come to town and I jump on the tour bus and do a little guided tour from here to there and tell them things like that. And sometimes I get invited to events and I tell stories and yes,
Do you wear a quote unquote period costume?
Yes, I have a hat. Well, I can't wear a period costume because I'm so into roles, but I have a beautiful green cloak and a hat and a special my storyteller's outfit.
Something special.
Yes, that's right. And then, as people who know me, it's almost impossible to stop me from telling some kind of story at any moment.
At any moment. Where do people get in touch with you if they want to?
Well, I do have a website called The Storyteller of Thames.
The Storyteller of Thames?
Yes, and if you go on the webpage, then there's a place where you can send me an email and I have the introduction of the different stories available. The lynch mob at Kiranui Bay. the inferno of Shortland Street.
Inferno!
The heaviest sleeper was woken. All of these things, and hardly anybody knows. What about this one? The Armed Guard at St George's Church Hall.
Give us another short story, and then we'll have.
You
to
sure?
move on. Yes, yes.
Are
One
you
more,
sure?
one more story, yes.
Oh.
And then we'll go on. Okay,
Okay. Well, let's see. What's a really short one?
go get our.
I know. The shortest one is the show must go on. And so for a few years, there were almost 20,000 dedicated gold miners in the
20,000.
20,000. The
How many
population
people
went
live here
up
now?
from about 7.
Yeah, oh, good God.
And so one thing, and like their conditions in the mines, it was dark, dingy and dangerous. And so on Saturday night, when they'd come out from their 6 days down the mines, they had to have entertainment. And the best entertainers, it was like Paris, London, New York and the Thames.
Really?
They would come to the Thames. Oh yes, they would. And there was a big hall just over there, the Royal Hotel.
The Royal Hotel?
The Royal Hotel. And so they would have performers would come. But, when the mines actually fell over a few years down the track, well, the touring company, the hotel had gone bankrupt, and there was when 1,000, I've already had quite a few beers, thank you, miners showed up at the Royal Hotel for the performance of The Stolen Baby. I think that was it.
The Stolen Baby?
I know, these things happened. There was bailiffs barring the way. And so 1,000 miners can't be kept out by 4 bailiffs. I mean, after all, there was at least 5 doorways. There was the under this one here and the back one there. And so there's a few people got hit over the head. But 1,000 miners stormed in and said, "We want a performance, we want a performance." And so, well, actually the play group was still there. And so then the organisers said, "Come on," and they got out their miners' hats and they sent their hats around and they all paid in, and then the bailiffs went, "Well, we did our best, now let's enjoy the show." And so the show carried on with all of the donations from the miners, because when your work life is dark, dangerous and dingy, when the Saturday night comes, the show must go on.
Well, thank you so much for
my pleasure.
having come to share the stories. And one of the things I like about you is that you're often barefoot, and I have my fancy thrift store shoes on. They're fake. They're to fake people out to make them think I'm somebody I'm not. But anyways, keep up the good storytelling, and I appreciate your time. And I'll see if I can't get you a little gift too before you leave. All right. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. I can't come to the stage. How are you, my dear? You look beautiful today. Ikina. And I've been working very hard to keep your name cemented in my. Let's just talk about names here for a minute.
Yeah.
Because when you meet people, you're like, "What's your name?" And people are like, "Well, my name is so and so, but now I have a new name." And so Ikina is a name that was given you by.
Yeah, so I was in Australia and I was on my medicine journey, and that's what I do. And I had a German mentor and an Aboriginal clan that were working on the land, and they pulled it through from like the future, apparently.
Okay. They pulled it through from the future. Yes, okay, this
Yeah,
name.
and so it's written out phonetically with the Aboriginal language. It was like ai, ki, na, and then the German vowels are similar to the Aboriginal language. And so he wrote it down, my German mentor, he wrote it down as well, and phonetically. And so I had it on this beautiful piece of paper, the Aboriginal Lands Corbury, and then had it written 2 ways, and they put it together and they said, "You'll know what to do with this, and it will evolve." And I think I was 28 at the time, and so I was quite overwhelmed, and I folded it up and put it in my pocket for years, many years. And when I was in New Zealand doing my medicine woman work,
one of the protocols was to choose your own name, so you could step into a whole new vibration and really renew your studies and yourself. And I was looking for my name, and I sort of felt it has to do something with the heart. It has to be a heart-tied name. And I was searching, I couldn't find anything anywhere, and I had these clues, I'd forgotten all about the name. And then I had this moment on Google, I was like, right, I'm going to ask Google, you know. So I asked Google, and it popped up, Ikena, Ikena, heart-tied, Hawaiian. And I was like, here it is, here's this name, oh my gosh, you know, I was really excited. And then I wrote it down and took a screenshot and put it away. I've never been able to Google that name again to pop it up. So it was just this moment where it was like, spirit was like, yeah.
There's your name. And then you found, and then is that when you remembered your old piece of paper?
Well, then I was downstairs going through some boxes and I unfolded this piece of paper and I was like, there it is. You know, confirmation number 2, Ikena. I looked through the letters, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the name. And it means diamond, well, heart-tied. So the time of the diamond heart-tied. Just Taimanawa is the other part of my medicine name. Yeah.
So there you go. Now, so you are a medicine woman? Are you a shaman? Are you a doctor? Are you a healer?
Yeah.
What do you call yourself?
Well, I call it a kai miri miri. So kai is what we eat to nourish, and miri miri is to move energy. So you can move from the outer layers right up to the skin quite gently with miri miri. And then lumi lumi would be the next sort of flowing rhythmic stage of body work. And then rumi rumi is the really deep stuff where you start to go into the cellular memories of, you know, it used to be, we used to say about 5 years ago, oh, we can trip through about 7, you know, lifetimes or timelines or generational material that just gets stored in our cellular memory structure. But now it's going as far as it will go.
It's backwards, you mean? The information stored in your cells.
In your cells.
So you're sort of, yeah, they talk about generational trauma, but I prefer to talk about generational joys.
Exactly.
It came down through your cellular intelligence. A friend of mine was saying that they like, you know, this word cellular intelligence.
Yeah, exactly, because there is an emotional intelligence, you know, there's millions of brains all over different parts of our bodies, and as a society we've sort of got used to compartmentalizing everything, you know, art's over here and maths over here and science, but actually we're all one package of amazing energy, and we're the product of our ancestry's dreams, wishes and hopes. You know, every generation has always wanted to bring something through and had hopes for the future. And when there's trauma or resistance or density in the body, that aspect of the gift of these ancestral lines cannot be seen. You know, they're blocked. And it can be a really simple process of just taking some time to, you know, sit with someone on that density, on that resistance, and just allow the conscious field, the heart field, you know, the stress, the trauma to just really slip away, and then that resistance goes down and the cells enlighten themselves from that source of the story, and then the whole body can restructure itself. It's scientific.
Very scientific woo-woo. So like if somebody wanted to come to you for a healing or some such thing, they could find you. You're part of this healing co-op next door, is that correct? Yes. Next door to the Vessel is another lovely building, and if we had a different camera situation, we would trundle you around through that wall. But what is the name exactly that co-op goes by?
Healing Arts.
Healing Arts here next door, and there's several of you all that practice different modalities. There's a lovely woman in there that has those copper stills distilling different medicines, and you all have a little healing room in the back, so people do different sorts of quote-unquote treatments. And how do you know if you can help someone?
Well, that's a good question. You know, there's a rhythm and a conversation going on with everything. You know, everything is an equation, and you feel it. Your heart will line you up, and you'll feel drawn there. You know, our inner urgings are truly, you know, what we have to go by. It's our solid ground. And
unless you say that again, your inner urgings are what we have to go by. I like this idea, because we're actually taught not to pay attention to yourself. It's like, I don't care what you want, kid, get in the car. I don't, you know, you just have to grin and bear it, you know. And we're not taught to listen, respect, or pay any attention to what our feelings or our body is telling us. Yeah. And so what you're suggesting is that you would feel it in your body. Like if I came in and wanted to talk to you about something, you would know.
Yeah, there's a sense there, there's a knowing, there's an invisible conversation going on all the time.
And the people that end up in your presence, I guess, are different from the people that end up in somebody else's presence. I bet there's some sort of synchronicity going on there.
Yeah, there's genuinely a knowing and a consciousness of, you know, where you've been. People have done work on themselves already, and they're ready for that step. You know, they don't know what it is, but they know they're ready for something, and they're open to change. You know.
And so when you're quote unquote, if anybody has any questions, let me know, Catherine. When you're quote unquote, what modality? How do you treat people? Do you lay them on the floor? Do you beat them with a stick? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, it's you know, I have a few tools, but really it's an intuitive, guided, it's an innate knowing. It's always been there with me. It's something that my hands just go off and do. Oh, what's this here? You know, let's go and have a look at that. We use our breath, we use sound, because in the beginning there was light and then there was sound. And so to recalculate yourself to your own light source or dust source, or you know, you can use sound to really, it's another vibrational frequency that will help, you know, just bring everything into an alignment to where you're ready to go. You know, nobody else can take you beyond where you want to go or where you need to see, and you already know it, you know. And so generally I start on with the feet, and I open all the feet, and the lower part of the body from the knees down is our current field. You know, if there's any stresses going on, that's down there. And that's also your ancestral points as well. So, you know, their spirit or their energy or your love for them moves quite close into the table. And then the healing part of it is yours. You know, you're doing your own healing.
But how do I know? Like I'm all sick up, and I'm laying there, and I want you to heal me. How? You know, what sort of, how do I know that I'm supposed to do it myself, or how do you empower me?
Well, I have a few tricks.
Oh, love the tricks.
I do a few points, and there's trigger point therapy and cellular, you know.
Because you've actually done some real studying. I mean, not that others, real studying, continue. What was that word she used, the going off in a lifelong learner? I heard the word before, but yes, I know Rosalie's word. Anyway, moving on. I'm sure you get information from lots of, but do you have any certificates, degrees?
Yeah, I have a few quals.
Oh yes. What modalities are you actually qualified to perform?
Trigger point therapy.
Trigger point therapy.
Yeah. Cellular memory release.
Cellular memory release.
Yeah, relaxation massage.
Relaxation massage.
Yeah, and medicine woman of Mu was one of my courses. And
medicine woman of Mu.
Yeah.
Mu.
Which brought me to the area.
Yeah. So what's the Mu?
Well, it was a combination of a course that someone here is working on and trying to bring through. You know, circles of women to do their own work on their body. A component of that was the body work. So that was what I was drawn for, you know, just really start to amp up that side of things. But there was, you know, manufacturing from plants, there was moisturizers, cough mixtures, and all the things you can use from our native plants. There was channeling, there was pendulums, crystals, water, a lot of work there, but really it was about finding yourself in a circle and running a gauntlet. That was my experience, running a bit of a spiritual gauntlet with all of the illusion and disillusionment and theories and possibilities that pop out when you're working with a group of women on a journey, really.
And when you were young, growing up, did you think of yourself as a healer? Did you feel like you had that in your...
Yeah, I did. When I was young, I used to, shift people. We were just little and say, open your back. And I would sit behind them and just do some little things. and then say, right, you're finished, and off you go. And so that was my thing that I did when I was little.
That's funny.
Yeah, and they all said, yeah, oh, yep, she's got the mark. And that was about all the information they gave me. I never said, oh, come over here and do this and that, It really has just been a journey of self-discovery, Because whenever you have a problem or a density or an issue or resistance or upset, I think of us as the pole. We're here between heaven and earth, or the sky and the earth, and we get to be the mouthpiece now. It's our turn to bring through those wishes or drop them off if they're not, valid anymore, and move forward with our own ideas, with these vibrational aspects of ourselves, our higher selves, our grandparents, and we get to design. We get to co-create and manage what it is that we want to do with our lives now. So I feel like I got a little bit off track there.
No, but I don't think you got off track. But it's also, it's funny because I do this quite a bit, and I talk to all sorts of different healers and modalities, and I'm always asking the same question, and that people generally speak about this feeling. I'm like, get serious. You're either gonna massage my muscle. What do you mean feeling? That sounds so airy-fairy, but it's very common in my experience that people that do different healing works just sort of talk in this vague, but I consider pretty vague way,
the woo-woo way.
It's hard, the woo-woo way.
Yeah, enjoy the woo-woo way.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have any goals for this next sort of?
Oh, so many.
Okay, let's set a few intentions.
Well, I just really feel like people are ready to have a look in those areas of their own self now. We're moving closer and closer, for whatever reasons, many reasons, to having a real experience of our own. We want to connect on our own level, in our own self, and things are coming around the other way. More than ever, people need to know, are they safe? Are they solid? Are they okay? Are they connected? Looking for answers, and they really are all inside, And so I always say,
go ahead and trust yourself.
Yeah, I'm a bridge, I'm just there to secure the boundaries, hold a space for you, open up a bridge of possibility from what I've learned of my Healing Hero journey, knowing that it can be done, and then you just go as far as you can. We work together. It's a conscious experience. When I push into someone's body, they know what that's about. And sometimes I get messages, oh, this is about blah, blah, blah. But I prefer it if it's your own experience. You're getting your messages. You're getting your grandma come in and say, oh my gosh, that's not even yours, dear, and they'll just take it, and so it's just really just being a bridge and letting the being connect with itself, drop off those layers of everyday, stuff that builds up, and then just be refreshed by that, our waters, your own waters, your sacred waters. Yeah.
Okay, well, good. That's so wonderful. Folks, go off and be refreshed. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Yay, we'll see if we can. Okay. Is there anything else the world needs to hear about? Otherwise, maybe we're going to take it. We're going to just make a little tour of the place and see how that camera holds up to that, and then we're going to end Laura Shepherd Show 115. So let's see. Can you move it. We're gonna have some camera wiggle. That's right, just pick it up and wiggle around. Ooh, don't worry too much about it. There's a little boat here. This is a little parsley boat. And there's some jewelry I've been making from little bits and bobs. This actual show is called the Large Show. And so Dr. Noodle here is fairly large. How are we doing, Miss Cameraman? Camera person? She's got a tripod to wander around. This is the crazy chicken. Woohoo! Hee! I love this chicken because she looks so like something's about to go on with her. She's very exciting. These are the little seals. They remind me of my father. He was always a lounger. And of course there's Jolene. Now Jolene, she will eat your man. Keep her away from Jolene. She is the star, the biggest, the largest, with her Kardashian-esque bottom. And all around me you can see different art on the walls. Look at this beautiful elephant made by Marty Wong, one of the co-op art members. I love that this still from the Healing Arts place shows behind us. I think that's such a funny synchronicity. This is a lovely piece of art that's kind of scary. This is another Marty Wong. And you know what I just realized? She's so sweet. Her head will move. Look at this. And there's clothes here and more drawings and lovely kawa balm. Kawa is a local tree that's good for tea and healing and all sorts of things. There's a beautiful felt artist making these three-dimensional felt pieces that are really fun. Well, I mean, come on. And look at that. Little three-dimensional octopi. Oh, look, this is Catherine, the camera lady. Her cute little, we both like chickens. And let's see, coming on down, there's art on the wall. There's little earrings for sale. Beautiful cards you can get here. And we'll walk out the front door. Oh, we saw those back in the back. Lots of these have sold. This is my little train of circus kids on wheels, and I'm really proud. The red dots mean they've sold. Look at all the red dots. And we'll just have a little look in, and then we'll call it a day. This is an artwork. This is the Vessel Gallery. This is the front. This is an artwork by one of the co-op members named John. I give up. You save the planet, damn it. And with a little bit of it's hard to see through, but this is the front window. This is the Vessel Art Gallery. Thank you all so much for being part of the Laura Shepherd Show number 115. Next show in 2 weeks from I don't know where.